So you've decided to produce a testimonial video. Now comes the fun part, actually making it happen. Today, I'm going to talk about some practical tips for ensuring that the video content that you produce is compelling, engaging, and trustworthy. Whether you're going for an in-person shoot or capturing content remotely, it's really important that you nail the pre-production portion of the process. Here are some tips. First, you want to choose the right subject. It's best to select someone that is articulate and enthusiastic, and most importantly, select someone that is genuine. Your testimonial video might feature a client or a customer telling their real-life story. You might be talking to a trusted expert that can lend credibility to your product or service. Or maybe you're talking to an employee about their experience at your company. Regardless, it's really important that you select a subject that is going to convey your message in a really compelling, authentic, and engaging way. One tip is to ask a customer or a client who you've had a recent win with to participate in one of your testimonial videos. Next, it's really important that you craft authentic questions. Really think through what that interview guide sounds like. What are the responses that you want to get, and what are the questions that you can ask that will get at those answers? I definitely recommend that you share your interview guide with your subjects ahead of time and let them marinate on their answers a little bit. You definitely want off-the-cuff responses, but you also don't want to catch your subjects off guard so that they haven't had time to formulate an answer to your question. The other tip when you're crafting your interview guide is to ensure that your questions are open-ended. You really want to stay away from questions that could simply be answered with a yes or no. The whole point is to encourage your interview subjects to give responses that are engaging and authentic and feel true to them. The last step in pre-production is to plan the location and setting. If you're going the remote route, this can be really simple. You probably want to do a test run with your subject and make sure that their lighting is good and their audio setup is going to deliver a high quality end result. If you're working with Legit, we will incorporate a test run into the pre-production process. Of course, if you're planning to capture the content in person, you need to make sure that you're in a professional and well-lit setting. Make sure that there's not distracting noises happening outside of where the interview is going to occur. I would highly recommend that you visit the location at the time that you're planning to shoot so you know exactly what the background noise situation is going to be. Next up is production. My first and best tip is to make sure that you're working with a partner that specializes in testimonial video production. That will ensure that all of the details are taken care of so that your team doesn't have to worry about them. Some of the factors to consider are lighting, of course, matters. You want to make sure that your subjects look great on camera, whether they are being captured in person or remotely. You want to make sure that you frame the shot well, that they're looking directly into the camera. And then I highly recommend that you bake in capturing B-roll to the process. Stock footage is great and certainly has its place, but if you're able to capture your subject interacting with other people or simply existing in their environment, that's going to be really helpful later when you get to post-production and want to put together a story that has a lot of visual interest. Audio is even more important than how the subject looks on camera in many cases, because you can cover up different parts of the subject's footage with B-roll or stock or on-screen animations or text callouts. If they don't sound good, it's going to be really hard to produce a compelling video testimonial. Okay, last but not least is post-production. The most engaging testimonial video content really shouldn't be more than 60 or 90 seconds. Remember that longer testimonials can always be broken out into shorter clips that are better suited to social or email or wherever you want to post the content. Testimonial videos can just consist of interview footage, but your video testimonial content is going to perform a lot better if it has other visual elements that help drive visual interest and tell your story in a compelling way. I would certainly consider adding things like text callouts, animations, stock footage, B-roll, any other visual elements that help break up the interview footage and keep your audience really engaged. You're also going to want to make sure that you enhance the audio so that it's really clear and easy to understand. Consider adding music or sound effects that can make the story all that more compelling. Another tip to really keep in mind is make sure that you add subtitles to your final product. More and more people are consuming the video content on their phones with sound off. You want to make sure that your audience can still understand your testimonial story without having to hear a single word of it. Lastly, I would highly recommend that you end with a CTA, a so what, right? What do you want your audience to do after they've viewed the video? That could be on screen in the form of a text call out. You could have your subject verbally say some sort of call to action, but definitely include a next step for anyone that's viewed the video.